Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Hey, my friends, how are you today? This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold, Brave TV network. Thank you so much for joining and spending your time with me and the podcast. Appreciate it. If this is your first time tuning in and you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, I am an audiobook coach and producer. I help nonfiction authors turn that great book that you've written as a nonfiction author and turned it into an audiobook. But the key is that you narrate yourself, not hiring another narrator and definitely not going AI. All right. So that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. I take you through the process of setting up your recording space, teaching you the fine art of voiceover and narration and how to do a great, compelling narration. And then part of the program is that I provide all the audio editing for you to make sure your audiobook sounds fantastic. And then I upload your files for publication into Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. I call that the AAA. Got to be on those platforms for distribution. And this is all done within 6 weeks. By the end of the 6-week program, you are a published audiobook author and narrator as well. And the key is, of course, by you narrating your own audiobook, it's your story. Only you can speak your story the way you intended to have it told and to be heard. And that's really it, because it's your personality that's in your book that you've written, and you have to bring that personality out into your audiobook. And the only person that's qualified to do that is you. It's definitely you. All right, so today's topic is an interesting one. I do want to talk about time. Time is on my side, said no author ever. The reason why I say that, because how many times have you talked to an author who said, yeah, I'm writing my book, I'm writing this great nonfiction book, I'm writing my memoir, I'm doing a how-to book. How long have you been working on that book? Oh, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long. Time is not on your side now, is it? Because you need to budget your time to be able to do it. And we're going to talk about some skills and techniques on how you can budget your time. A couple of things that I want to share with you before we dive into this. First of all, as an audiobook coach and producer, as I mentioned, I do help you narrate your own audiobook. And I have a freebie for you, by the way. And this freebie is my Audiobook Narration Reference Guide. And this reference guide will help you, give you some tools and techniques of what you can do to help you narrate your audiobook. And I talk about some various practical aspects, physical aspects of how to do a good narration, but also the intangibles, the things that make a great audiobook, like emotion, like feeling, and your pace and your style, everything that makes you so unique. Okay, so that we talk about that in the freebie. Again, if you are watching the podcast, the video portion, we had a graphic up there. We'll put it back up there again for you to check out. Take a screenshot of that to get that link, and that will give you your free audiobook narration reference guide. And for those of you that are listening to the audio only, I'll spell out the link that you can click onto, and that is bit.ly, which is bit.ly/narration reference guide. And you can always go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com to grab it there as well. So anyway, great guide, and just take advantage of that. That's my free gift to you. Also, if you want to find out more about my audiobook coaching program, as I mentioned, it is a 6-week program, and you go from setup and preparation to narration to publication in 6 weeks. The only action step you need to do is just to book a call with me, and we talk about your book, figure out your marketing strategies, and then get you enrolled. Again, that's another bit.ly link. We have another shot on the screen for those of you who can see it, and for those of you listening audio only, again, it's the same bit.ly first section, which is bit.ly/, and the last part of the web address is audiobook onboarding. All right. So there you go. Wanted to share that with you, get that out of the way, and dive into our topic. I was thinking about time, and obviously when I thought of time is on my side, it's that Rolling Stones song, right? It popped into my mind, and I hear it every time I read that line or hear that line, time is on my side. Yes, it is. And you know what? Yes, it is on your side. It really is. Another thing that I was thinking about, maybe you remember this, maybe you've seen this in reruns when they do Twilight Zone marathons, and that is that famous episode with Burgess Meredith, Time Enough at Last is the name of the episode, Time Enough at Last. And that's where Burgess Meredith plays this nerdy bookworm guy who works at a bank, and he just loves his books. But his wife hates that he reads. His wife destroys his books. And, when he's at the bank on his, even when he's working, he's reading. He's got it on his lap and he's reading his book. And of course, his boss is getting all pissed off at him because he's doing that. So the story, basically, if you haven't seen that episode, is he goes down into the bank vault. There's a nuclear holocaust, and of course he's protected because he was in the bank vault, and he comes out and he sees that the world is devastated. It's gone. There's no human left, and he is pretty much crushed. There's nothing left. However, when he is at the end of his rope, what does he do? He stops, he walks by a library. And being the nerdy bookworm that he is, he's like, oh, I have books. I have everything that I need. And he sets everything up for, this is January, February, March, April, May, year 1, year 2, year 3. And it has all these stacks of books. Of course, being a Twilight Zone episode, he leans over to grab a book. His glasses fall off and they break. And he cannot see. That's the end of the episode. So typical Twilight Zone. But it just had me think about, what was his character? Henry Bemis. Henry Bemis was Burgess Meredith's character. But what a sad thing, right? What a sad thing where you have all this time and then something happens. And again, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? So what separates somebody who is successful from somebody who is always struggling? We all have the same amount of time, and it comes down to your time management skills. Now, of course, Henry Bemis, his situation is a little bit different, but it just brings forth the thought that we have time, and we need to manage our time, and we need to be careful about things like glasses, and to really be focused on what we're doing with our time and how important it is to budget your time. When I wrote my book called Lights Action You, there's a chapter in here. This is before I was just doing audiobook coaching and what I do now. I was also doing life coaching and career coaching. And so I kind of tie in those concepts, which I love to share with you now, because it is very important as an author, as an audiobook narrator, and just some of these concepts are great, just skills in life that you can definitely utilize. And I have a chapter in here that says, it's called Everyone Can Be a Manager of Time. And I just wanted to read something a little bit in here about something that I've written, because it got me to think about, again, our topic today about time management and time management skills. So I just wanted to share this with you. So I wrote, we all have our share of what ifs and if onlys. I know I do. And sometimes I wish I could go back in time and change circumstances or do things I didn't do, or on the other side, right? Stop myself before I did things that I did do. However, I know that if I were to actually go back and make those changes, they would cause a ripple effect, and my life would be completely different from what it is now. So the real if only is if only I were able to see what would happen or what the end result would be if I changed something from the past. Wouldn't it be great to see the outcomes of each different decision and line them up side by side and then pick the best outcome and choose that to be my life? Wouldn't that be great? Or would it? Because what that does is that takes away uh, the variables. It takes away the excitement of the unknown, right? So knowing the future or having a choice of where you want to go sounds great, but maybe in the big picture, it may not be. So managing your time is so important, and knowing some skills to be able to do it effectively so that you can get that book that you're writing, so you can narrate that audiobook that you've always wanted to do, turn your book into an audiobook. You can do it. But ask yourself this question: why is it taking me so long to finish this book? Why is it taking me so long to just do that narration, to get that audiobook out? It's the why. It's asking that question why, getting down to the root causes of things that are stopping you from doing the things that you should do and doing the things that you need to do. And of course, doing the things that you want to do as an author. Right? You want to write that book. If you're writing a memoir or a great nonfiction book, or you're a coach or an entrepreneur or a poet or an educator or teacher, or you have a how-to book, you want to get that out there for people to read and absorb and to teach your concepts and share your unique style and your unique ability as a writer and your unique ability as a narrator to get your story across and to help other people if it's a self-help book, or to share your experiences, kind of like what I did in my book, my Lights Action New book. The stories that I share in that book is about the 30 plus years I worked in the entertainment business, and then tying those stories with concepts and tools and techniques, for career coaching and life coaching that are in the book. So if you want to get the word out, you get that book done, but you have to manage your time. You got to have the skills to do it. And it's not as complicated and hard that it may seem. You can do it, just like narrating your own audiobook. You can do it. You have the skills to do it. You really do. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to go over a few techniques and tools that I want to share with you, some time management skills that you can do to help you get in the right frame of mind to finish that nonfiction book you're writing, to record and narrate that audiobook that you definitely need to do, because you need to tap into that market. It's a whole market out there that you have to get into, and you don't want to ignore the audiobook world. It's growing and expanding so much. You got to be in on that. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some tools and techniques on how to manage your time. You are listening and watching the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Radio show host and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
All right, welcome back, my friends. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Our podcast title is Time is on My Side, said no author ever, but we're going to change that. We're going to change that because in this segment, I do want to talk about some time management skills that I want to share with you that are simple to do. And if you do them, it will help you tremendously. You want to finish that book you've been writing? Do this. You want to narrate your audiobook? Do this. All right, so let's talk about time audits, okay? Time audits, basically what that is pretty much what it is. You are auditing your time. How are you spending your time? And so the best way to do this is having a notebook or someplace you can keep track. You know, a notebook is great because you can write it down as you go. And this is what you do. So, for example, let's say your day starts, your alarm rings at 6 in the morning, okay? That's the start of your day. What you're going to do is you are going to audit your time. You're going to check and write down exactly what you do and how much time it takes you to do it. So, for example, the alarm rings at 6 a.m., maybe you're one of those people who grabs your phone to check emails and social media. Okay, great. How much time do you do that once you wake up? Is it a half an hour? Is it 15 minutes? Is it an hour? You log that time down. You know, woke up at 6 a.m., spent from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. checking email. From 6:30 to 6:45, checked out social media. 6:45, got up and took a shower and which took me 20 minutes, and then I ate breakfast, took me 15 minutes, or maybe it takes you half an hour. So you get the idea. You log down your time. Then you say, okay, I have to drive to work if you have to drive to work, or if you still work from home, or you do work from home, you can say, okay, I'm going to my office, at this time, and from this time to this time, I'm working on my business. And especially if you're an author, right? From this time to this time, I'm working on my book. I'm working on my audiobook. I'm doing whatever, PR I need to do. This is from this time to this time, I took a break. I had lunch. I worked some more on my business. I, drove back home if you are driving home from work. How much time did you spend eating lunch? How much time did you spend eating dinner? What did you do after dinner? Did you turn on the TV? Are you watching Netflix or, streaming something on YouTube or, whatever? How much time did you spend doing that? How much time does it take you to get ready for bed? When you go to bed, how much time did you spend sleeping until 6 a.m. the following day? All right. So you're blocking out an entire 24-hour period of time that you're doing a time audit, and just keep track. Now you're going to do this for 3 days, at least 3 days, okay? Because what you're doing is just gathering data. You're gathering data so that you can go back and analyze exactly what you're doing and how much time it takes for you to do all these varieties of tasks. And again, even sleep. If you sleep, if it's only 6 hours or maybe 8 hours or 10 hours, or however long that you take for sleeping, you jot it down, okay? Do it for 3 days, as I mentioned. And now you're going to go back and analyze the data. And you will see how much time you're actually spending doing a variety of tasks. Now you can prioritize your time and say, hey, you know what? I've actually spent 2 hours a night watching Netflix. What if I only do 1 hour a night and take that other hour and work on my book? Or take that extra hour and record a chapter for my audiobook, right? You get to see things that are taking up your time that maybe are low priority. And you can just swap things around and figure out how to manage your time better and utilize your time more efficiently. So a time audit is a great thing because it gives you usable, viable data that you can use as reference. This is fact. You're just jotting facts down when you're doing your time audit. So it's really important to prioritize then the data and figure out, you know what, if I get up in the morning and maybe cut the time in half for checking emails or scrolling through social media or doing things that aren't really moving your business forward. Because the other thing that you will also discover is that maybe you're doing busy work. And maybe that's all it is just busy work. But it's not moving your business forward. It's not moving you as an author forward. Oh, I need to, do this or do that, but you're not actually working on your book. Oh, I need to, take care of these things. I got to, post on social media and, create reels or whatever that you're doing. Well, maybe you should take more time spending recording your audiobook narration. There's things that you can do, and so you can reprioritize your time. And that's what's so great about a time audit. Okay, so on the surface, it may sound like a lot of work, but it really isn't, because all you're doing is just jotting notes down. It's like you just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm doing from this, and I'm done doing this task. Oh, that's when I finished. Oh, it took me, 45 minutes. Great, write it down. And then you continue on with your day. It's not that hard. But the data is invaluable. It is so good to really see how you are spending your time. So time audit is a really, really important skill or task, I should say, that you can utilize, or I should say technique. Technique is really the best word, the technique to really see how you're spending your time. The other thing that I want to share with you is eliminating distractions. We are so easily distracted. There are so many things, there's so many outside influences that, take our attention away. It's the infamous thing where like you're having a conversation and then you're like, oh, look, squirrel. Distraction, total distraction, right? Eliminating distractions is important. One of the ways to eliminate distractions, especially when you're writing and especially when you're recording your audiobook, is leave that cell phone in another room somewhere. All right, wherever you're setting up your workspace. If you're a writer and you're working on your book, or you got your recording space set up and you're ready to do your audiobook and you're going to spend an hour, working on that, eliminate all distractions. Okay, tell people if there's other people, if you're working from home and there's other people in the house, hey, from this time to this time, I'm working on my audiobook. I'm writing my book. So, please don't disturb me. Okay, eliminate those distractions because that's going to be a huge factor in getting into that deep work mode, because that's what you want to do. You got to get into that deep work mode. And again, focusing on that one thing at a time is really important, because here's the other thing that I wanted to say, and that is multitasking is a lie. Multitasking is a myth. Multitasking doesn't exist. There isn't such a thing as multitasking. Your brain is like a supercomputer, just like any other computer, okay? So when you are working on things, especially, let's use a computer as an example. The computer is so fast that it gives you the illusion of multitasking, but that's really not the case. All right. It's able to go from one thing to another and back and forth at breakneck speed. Now, us and our supercomputer up here in our brain is a fantastic computer. However, it functions the same way. We work at one thing at a time. And when you are supposedly multitasking, you're just jumping from one thing to another, back to a third thing, maybe to a fourth thing, and you're just jumping around. So you're not allowing yourself to really get into a deep work mode. You are not allowing your brain to focus on one thing and give it the full 100% attention that you need to give it. So if you're recording your audiobook and you're getting distracted, your narration is going to be subpar. It is not going to be quality because you're not focused on that one thing. So you need to, again, allocate specific times to do specific things and only focus on that one thing at a time. It's really important because, again, it takes the brain 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes to really be focused. You know that feeling when you're in your zone? I'm in my zone. It's because your brain has focused and is 100% into what you're doing at that time. So you're in your zone. You're in your zone. And then when somebody disturbs you, it knocks you out of your zone. You're like, oh, come on. So again, multitasking really doesn't exist. You're jumping from one thing to another, to another, to another. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And it's not a good way to be productive. And what happens when you are jumping from one thing to another, aside from the quality of what you're trying to accomplish lessens, there's more room for mistakes. More mistakes happen when you are multitasking. And then you have to end up going back and fixing things and doing this and that and the other when all that time is wasted. If you were focusing on one thing at a time and really giving yourself, that zone, that deep work mode, then you're going to accomplish things quicker. The quality is going to be better, and the mistakes are going to be much, much less. So again, multitasking, not real. Don't even think it is. Excuse me. And again, distractions. Eliminating distractions. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. And of course, as I mentioned, the first point, which is doing a time audit, because that data is really, really valuable. And it'll tell you so much about what you do, how you do it, how you're managing your time, and how you can manage it better. It's like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Excuse me, I had to take a drink of water there. How you utilize that time is the key to what a successful person does and what someone who is struggling with time does. Okay? Time management is such an important skill. Now, of course, I'm talking to you about as a writer, as an author, and narrating your own audiobook. That's where my focus is, of course, as an audiobook coach and producer. But this is great stuff to apply to your life in general, no matter what your career is, no matter what you're doing with your life, whether it's professional or personal. Being able to manage your time, juggling time. But it's not a juggling act. It's actually something that's very specific. Because when you do apply time management skills, you are assigning a certain amount of time to do certain tasks. And that's where you are really moving forward. And you really get more things done that way. You really, really do. So keep that in mind. I have more techniques that I'm going to share with you in just a second. I do, again, want to remind you that I have my audiobook narration reference guide for you as a freebie that you can download. And we're going to pop that up on the screen in a second here. And grab that. It's a freebie for you. I talk about practical techniques, posture, mic placement, all that kind of thing. And of course, the intangibles like the emotion and bringing your authenticity into your audiobook and how to do that. So it's a great guide. Check it out. Download it. It's yours for free. Again, the link is bit.ly/narration reference guide. All right. And so grab yourself a copy of that. All right. We're going to take a quick break. I have a couple more great techniques that I want to share with you regarding time management that I think will really, really help you. So don't go away. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. If you want to find out more about what I do with my coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice, where you as the nonfiction author narrate your own audiobook, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com and it'll tell you about everything that I do. And all you have to do to find out more information and get enrolled into my program is just book a call with me. It's that simple. All right. All right. So we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We will be right back. I have some more time management skills to share with you, so don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
All right, welcome back. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. One thing before we jump into a couple more skills, time management skills that I want to share with you. I want to, again, I mentioned before the break that if you'd like to talk to me directly about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach, and get you published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books in 6 weeks with you narrating your own book. Great thing, right? All you need to do is book a call with me. So I just wanted to share that with you. And we're putting a graphic up on the screen there again, which is a bit.ly link, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That is the link to book a call. And again, you can always go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. There's plenty of buttons there to schedule a call. It takes you to my calendar link, and you will talk with me directly. I don't have some assistant that you talk to. I want to talk to you because I want to find out more about your book and what you want to do with it and how we can market your book and get you enrolled in the program and teach you everything that you need to know to narrate your own audiobook. I'm going to give you more details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program a little later on in the podcast. But for now, I do want to dive into a couple more time management skills that I want to share with you. To-do lists. To-do lists are great, or they can be daunting, right? Depending on how you put together your to-do lists. I'm notorious for putting together a to-do list. I don't have any sitting right here, but usually I have a list and I write it out. I look at this list and there's 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 things that I want to get done in one day. Now, I know it's not going to happen. So there is a way or an approach to doing and creating to-do lists that I want to share with you. Now, when you have that list of, let's say, 30, 40 things, basically what you're doing is a brain dump, right? You're just opening up your brain and you're just jotting down anything and everything that you can think of that's, these are things that I just need to get done. All right. And that's actually not a bad way to start in creating your to-do list. Do a brain dump and just write everything down. Okay. Once you have everything written down, you just go back to the list and just check by things that are priority. And you can even categorize them if you want to get real fancy. There's this and this is top priority, second priority, third priority, if you want to get that detailed. But what you're going to do with that list, let's say you have 30 things on your list, you want to find not more than 5 things on that list that you want that are top priority. These are the 5 things that are the most important things that I need to get accomplished for this day, today. 5 things, that's it. Because you want to get those things accomplished. You don't want to put that off to the next day, okay? So you're going to write down or check off those 5 things. Now, some of those things on your 5-thing list will be higher priority. So you're going to look at that list and you're going to figure out what is the biggest thing that I need to accomplish. What is the hardest thing on this list that I need to accomplish? That is your number 1 priority. Whatever's the hardest thing on your list, you want to get that done first. Even if it takes you half a day, get it off your plate. Because I'm telling you, it is a huge weight that's lifted off your shoulders when you get that thing done. And I talk about that in my book, in that time management chapter. And I call that one thing the ugly ogre. The ugly ogre. It's that thing that's just hanging over your shoulders. Get it done first. Because even if it takes you half a day, once that task is completed, and you're not putting it off to the next day, and then the next day you're putting it off to that next day, you're not doing that anymore. It is gone. It is done. The weight is lifted off your shoulders. Now you can focus on the other 4 things on your list and get them done. And what happens 9 out of 10 times is that not only do you get everything done on that list, sometimes you even have time to pick other things off that original 30 to-do list, task list, that you can pick something else off that list and get it done. Okay? That's moving your business forward. And you will actually get more things accomplished when you do things this way. Another technique is when you do your brain dump and you figure out what you need to get done and you pick your 5 things, do this the night before. So what you're doing is you're prepping yourself for the next day. And now you got your list of 5 things. Right? I got this, and this. That is my ugly ogre. I'm going to tackle that first thing in the morning. Have that, done, and then go to sleep. Because you know what? Your mind is always working. Your subconscious is always working. And your brain is actually figuring out ways of how to get these tasks accomplished for the next day. So you're ready to go. So it's really great to prepare the night before. And now you know exactly what you're going to do. When you wake up in the morning, you got your 5 things ready to go. Your day is set. You're not wasting time writing out this list and doing all this stuff, and then 2 hours go by, and it's like, oh, geez, that much time went by already. You're already prepared for the following day. So get that to-do list put together and prepared the night before. It'll save you a lot of time, and you will be much more focused when you get up in the morning because you know exactly what you need to do. All right. Another technique that I wanted to share with you is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries, time boundaries. Setting up specific times to do specific things throughout the day. All right. And what's really important, and this is something that I stress and I go over with my clients, my author clients who are in the audiobook coaching program, is you need to pick a time that you're going to work on your audiobook. And I say, at least an hour a day. An hour a day, maybe do it 5 days a week. Maybe do it 7 days a week. But pick a specific time that you're going to work on your audiobook. or if you're writing a book, pick a specific time that you're going to work on your book. And then that time is non-negotiable. All right, non-negotiable, meaning whatever comes up that may conflict with that time that you've allocated to work on your book, to work on your audiobook, whatever that task is, whatever comes in that may be a conflict, that's going to have to be rearranged because your time is non-negotiable. This is the, let's say, from 8 to 9 p.m., I'm going to work on my audiobook, and I do this Monday through Friday. Okay, Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 p.m., that's audiobook time. Anything that comes up during that time is going to have to wait because this is your time. You have to be disciplined and honor this agreement that you've made with yourself. Okay, I am going to work on my audiobook from 8 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's a non-negotiable time. If something comes up, whatever conflicts with that time is going to have to be rescheduled and work around my audiobook time. You have to honor that agreement with yourself. Because one thing that your subconscious will pick up on is when you do not honor your agreements. All right? Something as simple as when the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and you're like, I'm going to get up, and when the alarm rings, I'm going to tackle my day. I'm ready. Well, morning comes, alarm goes off. What do? You hit the snooze button, go back to sleep. You've just broken an agreement with yourself. All right? And what you're telling your subconscious is your subconscious can't trust you because you're not honoring your agreements. Oh, yeah, sure, you'll get up at 6 a.m. You haven't done that the last few times. So it's really important to honor these agreements that you make with yourself. On previous podcasts, I've talked about the fuel that you provide your subconscious, which is your habits and your belief systems. So if you have a bad habit, that's bad fuel. You're giving bad fuel to your subconscious. If you are setting your alarm at 6 a.m. and yet you can't even honor that simple agreement, you're just providing bad fuel for the subconscious. You're creating that bad habit. You need to not ingrain a bad habit, but you need to ingrain good habits. And good habits are honoring your agreements. If you have a non-negotiable time to do something as simple as waking up in the morning when the alarm goes off, do it. Do it. It is building trust in your subconscious, and it builds discipline, and you will be a better manager of your time because you're honoring your agreements that you've made with yourself. So it's really, really important. Okay. Now, let's say you're working, you're doing your thing. You've created specific times to do specific things. All right. So I'm spending this time. Maybe I spend 2 hours working on my next, nonfiction book, and then I'm going to spend an hour, or maybe even an hour and a half, at this specific time to narrate my audiobook. And then I have this specific time to, spend time with my kids, or my husband, or my wife, or my significant other, or, you can allocate time. All right, this is when I go food shopping. This is when I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is the time that I allocate to watch Netflix. This is the time that I allocate. Now it sounds very regimented, and there's also there is some flexibility to that. And I'm talking about not the non-negotiable of the writing and the audiobook, but things do come up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and playing with the kids, and watching Netflix, and whatever, and that kind of thing. There is some flexibility there. But the point is you're allocating specific time to do specific things. Now, when you're working on your business, when you're working on your book, you're doing your audiobook, if something comes up, because it happens all the time, right? Checking emails, for example. We get inundated with emails all day long. A big time waster is you're always checking emails, always checking emails, always checking emails. What you need to do is definitely allocate a very specific time of when you're going to check emails. And maybe you do it only twice a day. Or if you have to do it, if you're really busy, depending on what you're doing as a career, or even in your personal life, you have to allocate maybe 3 times a day. All right. I try to do 1 time or 2 times a day. And you spend, again, a half an hour, let's say, going through emails, answering emails, moving your business forward. Okay, these aren't just only busy tasks. These are things to help move your business forward. Okay, now something may come up. You may get an email and it may seem like a big priority to you. This is where you apply the 60-second rule. And the 60-second rule is something comes up, and if I can't complete that task in 60 seconds or less, it gets put over to the side because that is not one of the 5 things that I'm working on, right? You have your to-do list. That's not on my to-do list. So that, you grab a piece of paper, you write down, all right, this came up. It's going to take me, longer than 60 seconds to do. I'm going to jot it down, and I have a little bin. Throw it in the bin. And then at the end of your day, you can go back and take a look at it and see, okay, well, that task, well, I'm going to add that to be one of the top 5 things that I need to accomplish for the following day, if it's something that really needs to get done. Because again, like I mentioned about being focused and being in your zone, you don't want things to distract you and knock you out of your deep work mode. Okay, you want to stay focused. If you are spending an hour or half an hour or even 2 hours doing a certain task, focus on that one task. Again, if it takes 60 seconds or less, oh, it's trash day. I forgot to put the trash out. Run out, do it, come back, get back to work. It's done in a minute, okay? So you have to, again, honor your agreements that you make with yourself, create non-negotiable times, okay? And again, don't allow other things to knock you off course. That's a distraction. That's something that can wait. If it can't be done in 60 seconds, put it off until you can deal with it at a different time. All right. So we're going to wrap things up in the next segment on these techniques, and I do want to share with you some more details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach. So we're going to take a quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
All right, we are back here on the Bold Brave TV network streaming live. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Thank you so much for spending time with me here. Time management has been our topic today. Time is on my side, said no author ever. Well, that's changed because time is on your side. It really is. So just to review, some of the skills and tools and techniques that you can utilize to figure out how to manage your time better as an author, as an audiobook narrator, and just in your life in general. It's great stuff to apply. Doing a time audit. Take 3 days and a full 24 hours of each day and log what you do and how much time it takes for you to do it for 3 full days. Take that data, analyze it, figure out, time that is being wasted, time that is not priority, and reprioritize your time so that you can get more things done and be more efficient. Eliminate distractions, right? Eliminate distractions. Don't have your cell phone with you. Don't think you can multitask, because that's a false belief. There is no such thing as multitasking. You jump from one thing to another, to another, to another, and you do not allow yourself to get into that deep work mode, that deep focus mode, that zone that you want to get into to accomplish the tasks that you want to get done. So you have to, again, spend time doing that, and don't jump from one thing to another, because it's a waste of time. You end up making more mistakes, and the quality of your product is not as good as if you had spent focused time on accomplishing that task that you wanted to get done. To-do lists, of course, knocking that big list down to only 5 things a day, prepping that list the night before so you know exactly what you need to do to move your author business forward, and you're good to go, right? And tackling that tough task, the ugly ogre, getting that off your shoulders, knocking that off your list. Let that be the first thing that you accomplish, the hardest thing on your list, okay? Get that done, because you don't want to put that off to the next day. And if it takes you all day, that's okay. Maybe you didn't get to the other 4 things on your list. Just reevaluate what you need to do for the following day. And as long as you got that big project done, that's okay. You're still making progress, all right? Again, setting boundaries. Boundaries are very important. Having non-negotiable times to work on your book, to work on your audiobook, to do the things that are very important. Setting up specific times for specific tasks. Okay, very important. The 60-second rule. If it's something, if you're in your deep work mode and something comes up and it takes you a minute or less to get it done, just get it done. But if it takes you longer than that, write it down, put it aside, deal with it after. Okay. You don't want to deviate from that list of 5 things that you're working on, okay? And I do want to talk to you just a little bit about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. This is a program that I teach, that I help you as a nonfiction author turn that great published book of yours into an audiobook that you narrate in your own voice. You can do it. You have the voice to do it. All right, so my program is a 6-week course, and I'm with you every step of the way as your coach. Here's the deal. The first part is setup and preparation. I send you the equipment that you need to record your audiobook, because you're setting up your own recording space, and I teach you how to do that. I send you a professional microphone, professional headphones, sound isolation screen for the microphone, pop filter, everything that you need. We go over the recording program that you will use to record your audiobook, okay? Then the next phase, of course, is when you do the actual narration, teaching you how to do a great narration, how to be authentic, how to bring your personality that you have already established in your written word, bringing it forth in your voice. Teaching you how to love your voice, appreciate your voice, embrace your voice, because you know what? You have a great voice. Don't think you are not able or capable to narrate your own audiobook. You can, and you have the voice to do it. You don't have to be a professional narrator, because you will sound fantastic. I will make sure you do as your coach, of course. But being conversational and keeping your listener engaged from opening credits to closing credits, doing a compelling audiobook narration. Now, once your files are all recorded, because when you do an audiobook, it is in separate files, you're doing sections at a time. You need those audio files to be edited, to be cleaned up, to make sure they meet the exact specifications for publication. And that's part of what the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program gives you. So you send the files to me. I have 20 plus years experience as an audio editor. I've spent 30 plus years in the entertainment business. I know about audio, voiceover, editing, and you're not just getting a coach, you're getting an audio editor as well. So I edit the files for you, and then I will upload your files for publication into Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do it. I handle that for you, because if there are any issues, I know what they are. I can fix them, deal with them, and it's all done. Now, when it's all said and done, you have these great, clean, pristine audio files for your audiobook. I send them back to you. They're yours to keep, of course, and you own them 100% outright. I don't take any royalties. I don't take any percentage of sales, any of that. It's all yours, okay? My job is to be your coach, to be your safety net, to be your accountability partner, to make sure your audiobook sounds fantastic. And that's my job. And of course, being your editor as well. That's what the audiobook coaching program is, and would love to have you do it. So one action step you need to do is just book a call with me. We're going to put that graphic up one more time. Book a call with me, and let's get this going. Let's get you enrolled in the program, all right? No time to waste, right? Don't waste time. You can do it. In 6 weeks, you can have an awesome audiobook. And if you want to hear clips, by the way, they're on my website at robertlanecoaching.com. If you scroll down the homepage, I have a few clips of other authors. These are authors, all right? Not professional narrators. These are authors narrating their own audiobook, and they sound great, and you will sound great as well. And again, that link for those of you who are just hearing the podcast as opposed to seeing the video portion, it is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That is my calendar link. Book that call. You will talk to me directly. We'll get you enrolled. All right. Would love to work with you. I'm excited about listening to authors narrate their own audiobook because more and more people ask for that, especially for nonfiction authors. All right. So with that, I do want to give you my normal wrap up for the podcast. And it's this: when you're out and about, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them a compliment. It takes 10 seconds out of your day. But that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's day because you don't know what somebody's going through. If you give them a smile, say hello and a compliment, that may be the best thing that has happened to them for that day. And with that, go out there, be good humans, okay? This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Again, go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more about my audiobook coaching program. And we are streaming live, of course, on the Bold Brave TV network. I appreciate you hanging out with me. And we'll be back next week at the same time. We're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. That's 5 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. I hope to see you then. And just be good humans, as I say, and have a great, great week. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.